The Hundred-Year War began in 1337 as an inheritance dispute over the French throne, interspersed with occasional periods of relative peace. Earlier fighting had taken place in France, and the English army had debased the economy. Before the appearance of Joan of Arc, the English had nearly achieved their goal of a dual monarchy under English control, and the French army had not achieved any major victory for a generation. The young Charles of Orleans succeeded his father as Duke, and was replaced as custody of his father-in-law. The Count of Armagnac, Henry V of England, took advantage of this internal division when he invaded the kingdom in 1415, winning the dramatic victory at Agincourt in 25 October and subsequently capturing many northern French towns.
In 1418, Paris was taken by the Burgundians, who massacred the Count of Armagnac. The future French king Charles VII assumed the title of Dauphin, the heir to the throne. He assumed it at the age of 14, after the four of his older brothers had died in succession. In 1420, the Queen of France, Isabel of Bavaria, signed the Treaty of Troyes, which granted the succession of the French throne to Henry V and his heirs instead of her son Charles. By the time Joan of Arc began to influence events in 1429, nearly all northern France and some parts of the southwest were under Anglo-Burgundian control. The English controlled Paris and Rouen. In 1428, the English had begun the siege of Orleans, one of the few remaining cities still loyal to Charles VII, and an important objective since it held a strategic position along the Loire River, which made it the last obstacle to an assault on the remainder of the French heartland. No one was optimistic that the city could long withstand the siege. For generations, there had been prophecies in France which promised France would be saved by a virgin from the borders of Lorraine, who would work miracles, and that France will be lost by a woman and shall thereafter be restored by a virgin. The second prophecy predicate in France would be lost by a woman was taken to refer to Isabel's role in signing the Treaty of Troyes.
Joan of Arc, also nicknamed the Maid of Orleans, is considered a heroine of France for her role during the Lancastrian phase of the Hundred Years' War, and was canonized as a Roman Catholic saint. She was born in 1412 at Domeny, in northeast France. Joan said she received visions of the Archangel Michael, Saint Margaret, and Saint Catherine. They instruct her to support Charles VII and recover France from English domination late in the Hundred Years' War. On the 21st of May of 1430, she was captured at Compiègne by the Burgundian faction, which was allied with the English. She was later handed over to the English and put on trial by the pro-English bishop called Cauchon. Accused on a variety of charges, after Cauchon declared him guilty, she was burned on the 30th of May of 1431, dying at about 19 years old. In 1456, an inquisitorial court, authorized by Pope Calixtus III, examined the trial, took off the charges against her, pronounced her innocent, and declared her a martyr. In 1633, she became a symbol of the Catholic League, and in 1803, she was declared a national symbol of France by the decision of Napoleon Bonaparte. She was beatified in 1909 and canonized in 1920.
She lived in a village which was then in the French part of the Duchy of Bar. Joan's parents owned about 50 acres. 20 hectares of land, and her father supplemented his farming work with a minor position as a village official, collecting taxes and heading the local watch. They lived in an isolated patch of eastern France that remained loyal to the French crown despite being surrounded by pro-Burgundian lands. Several local raids occurred during her childhood, and in one occasion her village was burned. After years of one humiliating defeat after another, both the military and civil leadership of France were demolished and discredited. When the Dauphin Charles granted Joan's urgent request to be equipped for war and placed at the head of his army, his decision must have been based in large part of the knowledge that every orthodox, every rational option had been tried and had failed. Only a regime in the final straits of desperation could pay any heed to an illiterate farm girl who claimed that the voice of God was instructing her to take charge of her country's army and lead it to the victory. A decision which would change totally the future of France in the 100 Years' War.
Upon her arrival, Joan effectively turned the long-standing Anglo-French conflict into a religious war, a course of action that was not without risk. In April 1429, the Commission of Inquiry declared Joan to be in prudential life, a good Christian possessed of the virtues of humility, honesty, and simplicity. She arrived at the besieged city of Orleans on 29 April 1429. Jean d'Orleans, the acting head of the ducal family of Orleans, on behalf of his captive half-brother, initially excluded her from war councils and failed to inform her when the army engaged the enemy. However, his decisions to exclude her did not prevent her presence at almost councils and battles. The extent of her actual military participation and leadership is a subject of debate among historians. On one hand, Joan stated that she carried her banner in battle and had never killed anyone, preferring her banner 40 times better than a sword. And the army was always directly commanded by a nobleman. On the other hand, many of these same noblemen stated that Joan had a profound effect on their decisions, since they often accepted as the advice she gave them, believing her advice was divinely inspired. In either case, historians agree that the army enjoyed remarkable success during her brief time with it.